But your wife ain't like mine. I bet I got a nickel to a dollar saying she ain't nothing like mine.
No, everybody's individual. But I was talking about the communication piece.
Thing. That's across the board.
Because like men talking quick hits,
right?
And women talking long drawn out narratives. Their story. Men are like the bullet points.
Yeah.
And so I would like to see, one of the things I'm working towards in my own communication with my wife is that I'm working towards trying to spend a little bit more time telling the story. And, I think she's been doing, a lot in terms of giving me stuff in tidbits.
Okay. Because I spoon feed him a little bit.
Because I'm like, all right, I need you to break that up for me. And that's just me, in that communication,
Well, I guess if I had to self-reflect, I just need to shut up and listen. But it's not that I don't want to listen. It's just like one of them things where I feel like whatever is in my heart and in my head,
it got to come out.
Like that's how I feel, and I got to get it out because sometimes I forget it. And I wasn't raised to interrupt somebody when they talking, but sometimes it just be like, oh, but let me say this, let me say it. And I got to listen. I got to shut up and listen. She told me, she said, well, God told me to shut up and listen. Just shut up. No, she said, just shut up. Just shut up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to steal that from her. I'm just going to start listening.
Just listen.
Because we tell the kid, I tell the students that all the time. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. God wanted you to listen. It's twice as much as He wanted you to talk. So I got to take some of my own advice and listen. However,
disclaimer.
I still got to get out what I feel. Because if I said it, I feel like it's right at the time. Now, I might have to go back later and apologize.
Right.
But at that point in time, in that moment, I feel like I'm right. Now, I'm not always right. I'm not saying that. Listen to what I'm saying. At that point in time,
you feel like
like I'm right. So, even if I'm wrong, I'm going to have to go back and say, you know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry.
I was wrong.
Man. And I think that's one of the biggest parts of being a man is to be able to admit to, like, look, I was wrong.
So let me just swing this back to...
because we're coming back.
To the topic that we were talking about. And so, all this we talking about as far as communication, for our men and our women, that relationship that you have, especially if you married, that relationship that you have is so important in being able to get through some of these struggles and problems that we have in life. We weren't meant to live life alone. That's why, God created man and woman.
And I had to go to church. I had to go to church to realize that. I did not know.
God never created us to live life alone because there are certain skill sets that a man brings to the relationship, and there are certain skill sets that a woman brings, and together that's what one flesh really means. Is that the two halves together make a whole. And so, and when we're dealing with our problems, you really need to be able to look things from a logical perspective, step by step, what is taking place, and from an emotional perspective. These are the feelings that are occurring here. And
a lot of people feel, I ain't putting up with no BS. I ain't putting up with no bull junk. But guess what? Surprise, look in the mirror. You got some BS with you too.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Croc and that's realize it, but he is just throwing out so much scripture right now. That's in the Bible too.
That's men and women. That's men and women. Everybody, I ain't putting up with that. I ain't putting up with that. But guess what? Somebody got to put up with you.
And ain't nobody perfect.
Ain't nobody walking this earth
except for me, but everybody else. That's 99.99% of the population. Y'all not perfect.
Hey y'all, we not perfect, but Doc is. So we gotta do better. We just gotta try harder. Doc don't have to try.
That's why I ain't gotta take these hits. Y'all gotta take these.
Y'all gotta take these hits.
But I just wanted to make sure that everybody just leaves here encouraged and knowing, because one of the biggest lies of the enemy is that we are alone and we the only ones that are dealing with the problem that we're dealing with.
And everybody going through something.
Everybody. And we all going through the same stuff. Ain't nothing new under the sun.
But that's what I was going to say. Your issue might not be my issue, but guess what? It's an issue.
It's an issue that somebody else is dealing with.
Yeah.
It's an issue that somebody else has overcome. And God is not a respecter of person. What He's done for one person, He'll do for another. But the thing is, where we started, this is where we finished, where we started. We talked about you got to go through the process. And so that first step in that process is making sure that you talk to somebody. Making sure that you talk to somebody that can edify you, that give you encouragement.
And guess what, Doc?
What's up?
And guess what? I'm gonna lead into the last little topic that we want to talk about today, with what you said, going through that process. And guess what? When you're going through that process, when you finally making a step towards to heal and to get better and to resolve with every issue that you're going through, it increases your self-worth. You feel better about yourself. If you feel better about yourself, guess what? If you're in a relationship, the other person is going to start to feel better. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't. So talking about self-worth, your self-worth is not going to be on the positive end or the extreme end if you're going through things and you won't deal with it. Because every time you start to feel good about yourself, guess what? Life is going to smack you in the face to remind you that you got some things that you need to face and you need to deal with.
Your self-worth is not determined
by your bank account,
by the things you go through,
by the car you drive,
your children,
your house,
your job,
your weave and your haircut,
your parents,
your polo shirt you got on,
your nails,
your Jordans you want to get every weekend.
Man, I was gonna say the J's.
I took it. I stole it.
Then find your Air Force Ones.
I mean, it's not, and we put. I don't know how.
We put in all these things. All these things.
Stuff. We put it in stuff.
Stuff and people, and your self-worth is determined by God.
That's what it all boils down.
Let me paint this picture for you, Croc.
Paint it.
So like, if you are a Christian, I'm just talking to the Christians now, and if you're not Christian, I'd love to have a conversation with you.
I'm gonna pray for you.
Hit me up on my email in the comments in the show, and we'll reach out to you. But if you are a Christian, then you got God living on the inside of you.
Yeah.
And you know who else had God on the inside of him?
The devil.
Well, I ain't gonna go there.
Okay.
That's another show.
Okay.
But you know what? Christ had God on the inside of him because he was God. And so he was able to do the things that God wanted on the earth. Now, if God lives inside of us, we are able to do the things that God wants us to do on the earth. And so with God living on the inside of us, we have power over the things that we are facing. We got power over the obstacles that are going to come into our lives. We got power over people that just want to tear us down and just want to hurt us. But we got to tap into that power.
You got to take that step. You got to acknowledge it. You got to acknowledge it and face it head on.
And you mentioned Satan there. As far as him having God on inside of him, because he was the top angel. He was there. He was the one singing praises to the king. But at the same time, because he's been brought low, he's jealous of the relationship that you got with God, and so he's gonna bring things into your life that's gonna make you question what God is doing. But you can't give into that, because again, your self-worth, your value to God, your value to the people in your lives is not determined by the things that you go through. And so I just want you to know that first, if you're going through something, talk to somebody. The right person. Make sure it's the right. Some of y'all got some people in your life
that's planting bad seeds in you.
And it's keeping you from achieving what God wants.
Moving to the next level.
It's keeping you locked up in this depression and this anxiety and these problems, and you need to start letting some people go.
And be careful who you talk to and who you let in.
Yeah,
I had to learn that early.
Not everybody is for you. They may be in your life, but they may not be for you. They may not be going in the direction that you're trying to go. And so, just ask God for discernment as far as who to talk to, when to talk to them, and who you can trust with, your heart. All right, Croc, we get into the last few minutes of the show.
Uh-oh.
And so there are a couple of things I wanted to do before we go. And so first and foremost, I just wanted to send a quick shout out to a couple of people who've been real good friends to the show, and they've been putting information out there. So I know you got one special person that you want to spend.
Shout out to my wife Celeste Crocker, and like I say, she's probably more excited than I am because I'm excited, but she's probably even more excited. So shout out to you, baby, for being my backbone, my everything, and just keep helping me, making me better, baby. Love you.
Hey, I tell you what, when a man has a vision and he gives that vision to his wife, she will help birth and produce the vision of that man. And so I also want to send a special shout out to my wife Trey. Just like you, she's just as excited as me. She ain't more. She's just as excited as me. And she's been promoting this with her friends and her family, and she's been pushing this out there, and she's been telling everybody about what we're doing. But also put this out there on my personal Facebook page. And I had just a couple of friends that have been out there sharing what we're doing. And I may forget a couple of people, but shout out to Matt.
Shout out, Matt.
Who, like I told you earlier, we had this whole conversation what we were talking about in last week's episode with his wife. And shout out to Rachel.
Shout out, Rachel.
Who shared this on her social media. Shout out to our friend and huge supporter, Tanika.
Shout out, Neek.
She been promoting this thing harder than I have, I think. And so she just been pushing it out and telling all her lady friends what we trying to do. And so shout out to my dad, Michael Carter. He been pushing it out on social media as well, and he been giving me tips for the show.
Okay. Dad, we listening, Dad. We taking them.
And so to people out there, if you got offended by any jokes on the show, they were probably suggested by my dad. So send your emails to him. My dad, you said you wanted to make the show. You made the show. Congratulations. So,
Doc, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that took 45 minutes out of their busy lives to listen to Doc and Croc. Because I know sometimes, like, oh, man, what is this? What is somebody sending me? So just, you know what I'm saying? We just appreciate you giving us a chance and letting us get in your ear for a little bit, your ears and your heart and your head. So just shout out to everybody that's been listening. I don't know who you are, but just shout out. Thank you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And we look forward to many more podcasts.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be hype. Yeah. And so, just to let y'all know, we are available on Spotify. Big shout out to Spotify for sponsoring the show. And so, all you got to do is search Doc and Croc. And if you follow on Spotify, you can go ahead and get the latest episodes when they drop. So, all right, Croc, any last words?
Have a good weekend. Be safe. And if you one of them drivers, please get out my way and get in the right-hand lane. It's the weekend, baby!
Hey, skinny people, we got a sale at Walmart. Get something baggy. Hey, Croc, we out.
We out. I like that, man. That feels just so nice.